singing for my supper. I'm above the below and below the upper. I'm stuck in the middle where money gets tight, but I guess I'm doing alright.
You're listening to Alive and Well, and I'm Tracey Gold. I'm here with Janice Murray on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we are here today with Crystal Lacey Edwards, who is so informative and teaching us so much about why it is so important to exercise.
And it is. It is so important. First of all, do you know anyone who has told you, oh, I exercised and I felt really bad? You know, for it just made me feel so bad. Because generally we don't. We might get somebody who gets overzealous and they get injured, which is not a good thing.
Or they have a little pain or something they tweaked, but no.
Right.
You cannot do something good for your body like exercise and then feel bad about
Yeah.
it. That
You know,
just
it's-
doesn't work.
And I think it's probably it's individual. It's the person finding what is good for them.
Absolutely.
Like I'm not as good with like doing classes. Don't really love that as much. But then, as I've discussed before, I found running, and I like that.
Right.
So, given the choice, I'm much more apt to do that and motivated to run than I would be to go to a class and get in the car and drive there. I think I would put that off.
I
But
think
isn't
that's
the
good.
beauty of it?
Yes.
That there is something for all of us. Because
Yes.
I absolutely love my Pilates classes. I love my yoga
And
classes.
I have enjoyed those as
I
I've
am
started
so
as
not a
runner.
runner.
I could never
Right.
do Zumba,
See?
though.
I want to do.
See,
I
I
want
would
to find
never do
somebody to do Zumba with me. I want to do dance.
I would do Zumba with you, and I'm not a dancer, and
I
I
am
would
not
look like
either. We would
like
look
a
like-
buffalo in a China
Yeah.
class, I'm sure. But I do have
But
fun when I
here
do
it's
Zumba.
Great
It's fun.
exercise.
It is fun, and I have never been in a Zumba class that I felt that I was being judged by the others because I couldn't do anything. There's others in
we
there
just
that
go
look just
stand
as
in the
bad
back.
as me, you know. But yes, you could. You know, it is fun, and I think that that's the big thing. People always say, "Well, I don't like exercise," and I laugh because when I was in school as a young kid, when you got in trouble, what'd you have to do? You had to do push-ups.
laps.
You had to run laps. You had to do sit-ups.
I never did, but
It-
I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. It always drove me crazy
Maybe that's
as a
why I
young
don't like
adult.
running.
Oh, there you go.
It is
That's
negative.
why I don't like running, because that was the punishment.
It is negative reinforcement beat into us as a child.
That's
It
not
drives me
good.
crazy when they do that.
Right.
And they still do it. I thought maybe that had gone by the wayside, but no, we still use it in school and sports and all kinds of stuff. So it really is getting past that negative and finding what you like. Do you
works
like
for
to
you.
dance? Great. Turn on the music and dance. Do you like to run? Terrific. Go hit the streets.
Yeah.
So I think that everybody does get their benefit from it. And the thing is when we're talking about all that we're mentioning in this last few moments has been cardiovascular type of
Right.
improvement. So it's an aerobic dance, it's aerobic running, it is swimming, that kind of thing. You get so many benefits from cardiovascular when you're talking about the heart, right? Well, what people don't necessarily make the jump to is you also get those benefits for your brain,
Wow.
right? 15 years ago, you didn't really hear about a lot of research being done. Actually, you might have been laughed at. You might be laughed at that somebody said, oh, you know, it's good for the brain or it's good for Alzheimer's or whatever. Well, now it's a hot topic.
Yes, it
and
is.
there is a lot of research being done. You know, and research takes a long time. You can't do a study on 4,000 people in a month and pop that information out. It takes a long time to get the people, to do the study, to lay out the study of what you're looking for and how you're going to actually accomplish it. Then, after you find the results, you have to find a way to disseminate it. So it takes a long time.
while.
But they're doing great research. And when you're talking about the brain and the heart, you're talking about blood vessels, and you're talking about the flow of the blood and the way our body utilizes it. So what's good for the heart is good for the brain.
So they work in the same way. So it helps the brain the same way it helps
Right.
the heart because of the blood flow and the circulation and all of that?
Right.
Okay.
When people talk about, just for an example, when people talk about a heart attack, a lot of times it's a blockage in an artery where the oxygen gets cut off from the heart. Well, a stroke, there are more than one kind of stroke, but again, a lot of times it is where an artery blocks, but it's in the brain instead of the heart. So you're still, the lack of oxygen up here causes a stroke, lack of oxygen
Wow.
to the heart causes a heart attack. There are other reasons, but that's a very basic idea.
So strokes run in my family. So by starting running, I have probably helped myself a little bit.
Yes, yes. And as long as you keep going.
That's the key.
You know?
You gotta
Well,
keep
and
it up
that's-
now.
of
You've
course.
committed.
So
you gotta
what
keep
it
up.
does, what the running does for your blood vessels, you can do whether it's a long-term, and there's getting a lot more research out here. I'll get into it a little bit more about the intensity. People can do high intensity for shorter amount of times, and they're starting to find in the research that that is also beneficial. So that time excuse of I don't have time to go to the gym or I don't have time to run an hour, you don't have to. There's other ways around it because the benefit to the cardiovascular system is showing to be very much the same when you're looking at intensity versus length of time.
Okay.
So there's ways around that. But what it is, with the intensity, it might be that the vessels are all of a sudden having to stretch because they're pumping the blood quickly. So you get a little bit of the flexibility in the arteries, and that's one of the things that we want to continue as we get older. Our arteries, you've heard about the hardening of the arteries, right? You want to keep them as flexible as possible and as nimble, and part of that is through exercise and through using them, right?
Yeah, that's true. Once you stop using it, it's like if you stay in bed too long, you get up and you're like, oh, I'm kind of sore or something like that. It's not using your muscles
That's
and
right.
your bones.
If you don't use it, you lose it. There's nothing more true than with muscles. That's really, really, really true. So yeah. So we just got to move.
Well said, Crystal. We are here on Alive and Well. Alive and Well is every Wednesday from 12 to 1. We're here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.